This presentation is about Black communities and African American culture by me, Camila Gastelum. Introduction. Throughout history, Black communities have played an important role in African American culture. They allowed Black people to celebrate their culture, connect and support each other, express themselves, and resist oppression. Two examples of these communities are Rosewood and Bronzeville. Bronzeville was a cultural powerhouse, while Rosewood was a successful and thriving town. These communities each faced their own challenges, but they each created spaces where African Americans could celebrate their culture and identity, pursue freedom, and show resilience. Historical and cultural context. In the 1900s, African Americans faced severe segregation and racism. Bronzeville became home to thousands of African Americans because they seek to flee the oppression in the South. They faced even more segregation upon their arrival, and this is why they created the neighborhood. In the community, commerce and jobs prospered, and there were innovations in music, literature, theater, and more that made the community be known as the Black Metropolis of Chicago. Rosewood was an African American town filled with gorgeous homes and small businesses that made it a thriving, industrious, and self-sufficient community. It was unfortunately destroyed after a white woman falsely accused a Black man of sexually assaulting her, which caused a mob to kill at least 6 Black people and light the town on fire. Even through these challenges, Black people's culture continued to thrive through the shared spaces they made that had music, jobs, and art. Black culture and identity. These communities helped shape Black culture and identity by bringing people together. They became a place where people could express themselves and be creative. In Bronzeville, people of all ages came to shop, conduct business, dine, and dance and enjoy the famous nightclubs and dance halls. Because these communities were created and lived in by African Americans, they helped shape and celebrate cultural values. Freedom and resilience. These communities serve as symbols of freedom and resilience. By leaving other segregated places behind and creating spaces of their own, African Americans were resisting racism and seeking freedom. Rosewood is a great example of this because the residents built a beautiful town where they became prosperous and successful. And even if it was destroyed, it still represents resistance because the residents created a thriving town. And it still represents freedom because the residents became self-sufficient. Conclusion. To conclude this presentation, Black communities like Bronzeville and Rosewood shaped African American culture, identity, freedom, and resilience because they became symbols of them. They existed during a highly racist and segregated period of time, which makes their existence even more astounding and important than it already is. Even while they lived during such a difficult time, Black communities created spaces where they could thrive, express themselves, and succeed. This connects to what we learned in class about resistance and resilience, because these communities show how African Americans overcame challenges and built places to celebrate and express their culture. These are the references that I used for my project.